We've had an exciting few days here.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, well, if you're not familiar, we just announced our new turbo inlet for the 22 Plus WRX FA24 platform. Chase, our lead engineer here, is actually the mastermind behind this whole design here. And we just have a few questions from you guys in the group buy that we wanted to answer, sit down and just kind of put a face to the answers and stuff that you've seen out there and just clarify some information about these. So,
sure.
Yeah. Starting out here, what is the biggest difference between our inlet and the stock aluminum inlet on these 22 Plus cars?
Sure, yeah, and I just want to mention too, I think it's really cool because we're the very first people to do a cast VB inlet, and I was the first person, and we, the royal we, were the first people to do the cast VA inlet as well.
So it's kind of come full circle.
Literally as a new generation. The two biggest differences, actually let's do three biggest differences on it, okay? So this now becomes a plug where this used to be a hole that was going to the turbo, and this was compressed air that went through a venturi and went through a series of, loop-de-loos, and we'll probably get into that later, but it would go ultimately into drawing vacuum through here, which just brings oil and condensation and crap that your engine doesn't necessarily want and shoots it into your turbo.
Gotcha.
So now we plug that, so there's not a continual boost leak. So if there's not a continual boost leak, your turbo isn't working as hard, there's not as much heat going into the compressed air, your intercooler doesn't have to work as hard. So that's huge. And then on the top of heat, now we no longer have where the coolant ports went on to heat this up, which also was related to this port as well. So we've removed that, so now that's just more intercooler efficiency.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think about that. Having coolant running through this inlet, your coolant gets up to, what, like 200 degrees operating temp, 210?
Yeah, you're looking.
And so heating up this aluminum to that 200 degrees.
Yep, and then it heats up fast. I mean, it definitely has an effect on that for sure. So we've removed that, but then also the shape. The shape is from the VA inlet, which we know makes horsepower. So this increase in flow, and then also the just the taper is like a faux velocity stack. That's another thing that helps increase performance on and off boost. And then let's do a bonus number 4. Bonus number 4 is that the new O-ring design allows us to have more meat before the O-ring, so this can be ported out larger and larger for your big turbos. So that's another huge thing.
And that's another question that we've had a lot is, can we offer these ported out on this turbo face to fit bigger turbos? And it's not something we had even considered. Honestly, we kind of forgot about it until we started getting those questions, and now we are actually looking into it. We are talking with turbo manufacturers, and we're talking with machine shops here locally to get that done and offer that for you guys. Potentially even for the group buy here, we'll keep you updated on that. I guess kind of the next question here is, you kind of touched on it briefly, the little boost leak here. Are there any other reasons getting rid of that's a good thing beyond just it's a boost leak?
I think that's the majority of it. I can't really think, other than the fact that it adds a little bit of complication. Anything that you add or what used to be here was kind of something that could be prone to clogging if you didn't have hot enough coolant running to it. But other than that, no, we're just kind of plugging something that's helping draw additional vacuum. So there's a little sensor up top that says, hey, we're sucking in enough gas fumes into the turbo inlet, and that's it.
Gotcha.
Even though it is constantly sucking those gas fumes in. It's just a little sensor wanted to see a little more vacuum.
A little more vacuum, just to tell the computer that everything's normal.
Yep, so while that's always happening, we just say, hey, let's grab a little bit of vacuum from here, so it doesn't see that anymore. Cool. It doesn't see it as a problem, I should say.
So compared to other inlets on the market, you kind of touched on, we are the first cast one. What made us decide to go cast over, say, a silicone or something like that?
We have kind of our values. Silicone is something that we don't necessarily like for a hard part like this. Silicone is really good for things like couplers and things where we're not going to see necessarily a ton of oil permeability or introduced or something like this, but this is also just a part that we know works really well in this medium. The same thing with the VA cast inlet. We made ours initially for liability purposes and then ended up seeing performance benefit. So that's why we've gone with what we've gone. We can really refine the shape internally, and then it's obviously going to be strong and reliable. And then it also allows us to, you know, bolt these fittings to it and then ensure that they're sealed properly.
Yeah, ensure they're sealed. They're not going to work their way loose or whatever as the engine moves around.
And then one of the other huge things too is where this fitting is on the 25 plus cars. This is a complete like blow-by solenoid valve all in one thing. So now if I have that and I have a piece of silicone that's holding this flange up, now this ends up being this much higher. Now can I go that much higher in the car? Not really, so I'm going to have to sacrifice internal flow volume for it.
Gotcha. So this is kind of the one, like the first true aftermarket inlet compatible with the 25, like kind of facelift engine? Okay.
Yeah, there's nothing else on the market that I'm available or aware of that is available right now.
Yeah, I certainly haven't seen anything.
Yeah, and it doesn't make any sacrifices because, and I'm sure we'll get to it too, but this portion that interfaces with the intake is the exact same size as stock. So we're able to keep that size all the way down to the Venturi, but it means that it's going to interface with your stock intakes and whatever else you have, and then whatever else doesn't necessarily exist yet that you're going to buy.
Is that a little bit of a wink?
It could be several.
Overtake products to come.
It could be several.
So you're kind of touching on bypassing the coolant system earlier on this. How do we go about doing that bypass?
Okay, so the easiest way to bypass, and I don't know why I grabbed this from you, I just really wanted to hold it, but usually there's a line that comes in from over here and it goes into here. I hope you can see this right now. It comes from here, goes into here, and then another one that comes from up here and goes down here. So now we include just a T. So if you want to do the installation, the easiest without burning yourself or maybe without losing hardly any coolant at all, which is how I prefer to work on cars. I hate burping these things, it's annoying. You can just pinch this one off, pinch this one off, and then you put RT in these two hoses, point them at each other, put the clamps back on, and then you're good to go. Now, we also include for the 25 plus vehicles that are interfacing with the valve that's on top of here, there's a line that comes in and now we can reroute that and just put it all the way up into there. Or if you don't have that and you have the 22 to 24 model and you don't like the idea of a line splice, you can just rerun the entire coolant line because we include that too.
Yeah, we included, I think it's 18 inches of that line. So
it's more than enough.
Yeah, more than enough. Any application, you're probably only going to need like 9-10 inches of it. So I know with some other inlets, there have been issues with check engine lights being thrown. Is that a concern with our setup here?
A lot of the issues that you've seen with check engine lights relate to I'm going to say installation, and I'm not saying installation errors on the part of the customer. So there's some problems that were learned over the years from other manufacturers from reusing the same stock Subaru hoses that maybe they weren't the best choice to cut and then shove fittings in that necessarily weren't the right size or weren't supposed to be there. So you see those failing and breaking and people will be 6,000 miles in or whatever, and then all of a sudden they're going to throw a code and they don't know why. So that's not going to be an issue because I've spec'd and we're adding completely new hoses. Anything that you would have cut that was Subaru, you take your Subaru stuff off. If you want to use the Subaru stuff, that's fine, but we're not going to recommend it. So use what we're supplying, cut that, and then get that to shape, and then that is going to be much more durable. So it's going to eliminate that factor. So not worried about codes, because that's what the majority of them have resulted from.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Kind of along the lines of codes and ECU, is there any sort of tuning required for this? Or
No, not at all. You can literally just bolt this part on. Now, if you've done any research, and I'm sure you have, because you're a good VB owner, right? Yeah. So you probably know that on the stock tune, the stock ECU does a really good job of trying to reel it into the same power levels. It's got the flattest, torque and horsepower curve I've ever seen. And that's because the ECU is working overtime to keep it that way.
It's crazy being on the dyno, and you can have a car that is fresh off the street, or it's been sitting for half an hour, or like it super heats up. and you just make a pull after pull after pull, and it is the flattest torque curve you've ever seen, and it is the exact same the whole time. So you have to do weird things with like resetting the ECU to get rid of learning features.
Yeah, and every time that you turn your car back on, unless you've specifically tuned it out, your dynamic advance multiplier goes to, I can't remember if it was 0.6 or whatever.
Yeah, it resets down lower again until it sees everything it likes to go back to 1.
Yeah, you don't get your full power until, sometimes on the dyno we saw it like after just 1 pull, but on the older cars you used to see it after a couple of them. So with that said too, so no tune, you're still gonna see gains on it on a completely stock car. The less modification that you have for upgrades, you're going to see more gains from it, just like any other part that you buy, because like I said, the ECU is trying to rein it in. Now, the best case scenario is that you have a tuned car, and from there, you're really going to take advantage of the fact that the additional flow in the top end and the extra boost that you can make, that you're not just wasting through this port now, that's just constantly recirculating. You're really going to be able to take advantage of those gains on a tuned car.
If your car is already tuned on, say, the stock inlet, putting this on, do you think they would need a retune then?
I don't think that you need a retune. From what we saw when we were doing testing, we didn't like pick up any additional knock or anything. It never eventually throws any code, so you don't necessarily need a retune. But it is a great, reason to say, hey, maybe I should go in for another tune.
Yeah, or
maybe
at least
buy some more parts.
Yeah, at least maybe take a data log and send it to your tuner and just have them look it over too, see if there's any difference in like boost response or something like that they can see.
Yeah. Plus, if your tuner likes you, you should be doing that anyway.
Yeah, you maybe do that once a year just as a regular checkup.
Hey, do I need to bring it in? Did I blow it up yet?
Yeah, exactly. A little preventative there. If I already have another brand's inlet installed on my car, and they have like the T-fittings and everything we were talking about for the vacuum rerouting, can I reuse those fittings, or would you recommend?
So there's only one inlet that I can think of that has those particular vacuum fittings. As far as everything goes, it should be functional. It will function exactly the same. Do you have to change out all of that? You don't have to, but I'm going to recommend it because what we've supplied for the kit, as far as the different hoses, the different T's, the different restrictor, everything is a different size. We've also included clamps where there were no clamps, and everything that makes this a much more, I want to say a tidy install, but it's
it's just more complete all around.
It's more correct. Yeah,
more correct. Yeah, absolutely.
So you can, if you were in a super pinch, but I'm going to say don't do it.
Yeah, for the reasons we kind of touched on already of reusing the factory hoses that tend to split when they're touched.
If it's happened before, it could happen to you.
One thing you did touch on that we just kind of glossed over, the restrictor. I know that's kind of a big part of the system that we haven't paid a lot of attention to at all. So what is the significance of it? What does it do?
Yeah, so the restrictor that we include is...
I wish I had one here to show, but from this far back you wouldn't be able to see it. It's the size of a pill.
Yeah, it's kind of a throwback to Subaru stuff where you had little brass pills with really tiny orifices in them, and you would push those out of your hose or your boost control stuff. So now, since you had a solenoid that you're tuning, you didn't need to use this little restrictor pill anymore. That's why I really wanted to include it, because it's classic Subaru stuff, and I knew it would fit great.
We should include, like, put a little paint mark on the hose where the restrictor pill is, like they used to have.
That's such a good idea. That's such a good idea. Yeah, we need to start doing that. But so the restrictor just limits the overall amount of vacuum that's going in to the system that we're teeing into. Now it draws directly from the vacuum pump, and the vacuum pump goes from the vacuum pump right to the brake booster. So we're just using some of that vacuum, and that's why we have the restrictor. There's no flow going in and out of that system prior to the tee because there's no flow in the brake booster itself. So the restrictor tries to keep it so, hey, it's almost no flow in that, so the vacuum pump never ends up in a situation where it has to, make more vacuum than it ever would. But if you didn't put the restrictor pill in, that wouldn't be a case. Your brakes would always still be fine, but the system isn't going to function how we've intended it to.
Yeah,
so
it's essentially going to be drawing way more vacuum on the evap sensor than you would
Yep.
you need.
And then you don't know necessarily what's going to happen downstream, something that all the factory stuff downstream of that doesn't necessarily have a clamp because it really doesn't have to. Yeah. But if you have a lot more vacuum than you would, it could be an issue. Yeah.
Plus, just if there's, I don't know what that sensor is rated to or designed to, it could just spike vacuum beyond 0 to 5 volt range or something like that.
And then you could possibly see hey, the vacuum here is too high, something must be clogged.
Yeah,
so exactly. That's what the restrictor does to function.
So use the restrictor. We have a nice install guide video that you can follow along where we show you how to install that properly. Yep. It's not a difficult piece. It's just very important to have that in place. Yeah,
you're just shoving a little brass thing into a tube. It's very, very easy to do, but I really like the throwback Subaru pill portion of it. That's
exactly. It's a nice touch.
Yeah.
They got rid of those in what? I guess the VAs had them.
The VAs had them, but we used to get rid of them, if you know what I'm saying.
Yep.
But so when you're installing that, if you're like, hey, you get the nostalgia, you can be like, hey, thanks, Chase. Or if you're like, oh man, I hate pushing this in, you can be like, curse that, Chase. Yeah.
So I know right now we've kind of just said these are WRX, and that's kind of what our whole marketing has been, but we've had a few questions about like the other 2.4 platforms, so the Outback Wilderness, the Ascent. Is this going to fit that?
The part physically fits, and to our knowledge, it works just fine. Now, the CVT equipped cars you don't do any of the vacuum stuff at all.
Yeah.
So it's technically a lot easier to do. So,
We haven't tested this for ourselves yet. We don't.
I made the short answer long, but
The short answer long, yes, it should fit, but
I physically don't have the vehicle, so I can't tell you what it does over the course of 2,000 miles.
Yeah. Over the next weeks or months, we are planning on getting those cars in the shop here that we can. Throw one of these on for ourselves.
Working with other people for the same reason.
Yep.
So right now we've just labeled it as WRX, and then we'll be working to release the other fitments as
we get confirmation, as we know that everything's compatible. So stay tuned for more on that. AOSs, that is one that I've heard a lot.
Sure.
There's aftermarket AOSs on the market. Is this going to be compatible?
Yeah, so the only thing that interacts with the AOS, as far as I know, is, and sometimes they include it and sometimes they make you cut and then replace, is this big thing that clips on the top of here. Mm-hmm. And that is where your major blow-by is dumped. So I think for the AOS, it's probably one of its major, one of the vacuum sources, rather.
Okay.
So anything that interfaces with the factory AOS is going to interface with this.
Okay, so factory inlet, if it's compatible, you're good to go.
Yep.
And
that's everything that I've seen, because they're not going to make, as far as I know, there's no AOS specific inlet.
For an aftermarket inlet. Yeah. Can we ship these to California? I know the answer to this. But,
someone can ship them to California, but not us.
Unfortunately, we are not able to. We do not have a carb board EO number for these, so these are not approved for use in the state of California. One day we would love to get approval on these. It is just a very expensive and very time-consuming process that involves us physically sending our car to the state of California or to a testing site for anywhere between 2 weeks or 6 months. And at the moment, we need the cars here. We need to do product development for you guys, and we aren't in a place that we can afford a second car at the moment. So one day we would love to get that done. For now, though, we are not able to ship these into the state of California.
We still love you, California.
Yeah, we still love you. We still come out to CB Fest. We love seeing you guys.
From Minnesota with love, baby.
And we absolutely are working on some other products that are going to be California friendly.
Do the right thing and don't have your friend mail it to you, because that would be not the right thing.
That would be not the right thing to do. I guess the last thing we got here is obviously, I think we've said these are getting packed up. I can see them getting boxed up right now, but are they being packaged with love? Or are they just kind of haphazardly being thrown in boxes?
The majority of them are. It depends on how hangry Doug is. Like he's I want to say a small angry man, but he's a regular size angry man. I don't know.
He is. Yeah, he's angrier than he looks on the outside, and he expresses.
Doug is the sweetest person of all time, and we just throw him under the bus.
For that reason, we choose to pick on him.
Yeah. But yes, packaged up with love, because everyone here is super excited. It's like, Justin is probably the most excited of anyone. I'm just excited to see the part out. I think it's really cool. It looks great. It performs like the VA one, which performs amazing.
Yeah.
It's just slick.
Yeah, we've been testing it on this car for several months now, and it's been flawless. We cannot wait to see these in your hands, on your cars, get your feedback.
Yep. You probably saw the dyno video. If you didn't, take a look.
Yeah, go take a look at that dyno video. We saw performance increases.
You'll see what it does on a stock car, completely stock car, and then you'll see what it does on our tuned car as we pushed it.
Yep. Yeah, we'll have that link down in the description if you have not seen that video yet. Otherwise, check out the Overtake USA YouTube channel. Other than that, though, I don't really have anything else. I think we kind of covered everything there is to talk about on these.
Yep.
If you have any other questions that we didn't touch on, drop them down below and we'll make sure to answer them.
Keep sending them in. You send enough questions in and we'll just remake this whole video.
We'll just do another video.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Very thank you, Chase.
Very thank you,
everybody.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Care.